Hey Reddit, I'm posting here because I've been on a wild ride these past few years, and while I've emerged stronger, there's a strange, lingering shadow of guilt sometimes. It's hard to articulate, but I need to know if, in some twisted way, I contributed to someone else's complete downfall, even though they were the one who started it all. I, Kevin, 24M, was in a relationship with Isla, 23F. We were high school sweethearts, the kind of couple everyone just assumed would end up together. Our story started almost like something out of a cheesy movie. She was dating the popular quarterback at the time, and I was just a quiet kid, already working part-time as a welder's apprentice. Her car broke down one day after school, a flat tire, nothing major. Her quarterback boyfriend was too busy basking in glory to help. I, being the only one with a jack and a spare in my beat-up truck, offered to help. I changed her tire in the pouring rain. We talked. We laughed. And something just clicked. She broke up with the quarterback a week later, and we started dating. Our love blossomed throughout high school. We were inseparable. We dreamt of a future together, a small house, maybe a couple of kids, me working hard as a welder, her pursuing whatever she wanted. It was a simple, honest dream built on genuine connection and mutual respect. After graduation, while many of our peers went off to college, I doubled down on my welding career, working tirelessly, honing my craft. I was a certified welder by 20, and by 22, I had started my own small welding fabrication business. It was modest, but I was proud of every single weld, every single client. I wasn't rich, but I was self-made, comfortable, and always improving. On our 6-year anniversary, during a camping trip at a spot we loved, I proposed. I'd saved for months, carefully picking out a beautiful, classic solitaire ring. She cried, she said yes, and I genuinely felt like the luckiest man alive. We planned our future together, talking about wedding details, dreaming of a honeymoon backpacking through Southeast Asia. Everything felt perfect. Initially, everything seemed to fall right into place. We were engaged, we were planning. But then, the first hairline crack appeared in our seemingly perfect foundation. Isla started attending a trendy, upscale fitness class in the city, something with an exclusive vibe, lots of expensive gear, and a specific type of clientele. She quickly met a new group of friends there. These weren't our old high school buddies, or the blue-collar crowd I hung out with. These were women whose husbands were successful professionals, lawyers, doctors, real estate developers, investment bankers. They lived in mansions, drove luxury cars, and vacationed in places that cost more than my annual income. At first, Isla would just excitedly share stories about her new friends, what they did, where they went. I listened, happy for her, thinking she was just expanding her social circle. But then, her comments began to shift. Subtly at first. You know, she'd say casually, after a particularly lavish story about her friend's new yacht, "It's kind of crazy how young we are to be settling down. Don't you think? Like, shouldn't we explore more options? Or, sometimes I wonder if I'm limiting myself. You know, by staying in one place, doing the same thing." Then the comments started to gravitate towards my life, my career, my lifestyle. "Kevin," she'd remark, looking at my work boots by the door, "does your job always have to be so dirty? So industrial? My friends' husbands, they wear suits to work. They have clean hands." She'd make subtle criticisms about our modest apartment, our camping trips instead of luxury vacations, my preference for a relaxed night and over fancy dinners. These comments, initially brushed off as her being influenced by new friends, began to sting. They created a quiet, simmering tension in our relationship that I couldn't quite articulate. My sister, Chelsea, 30F, noticed it too. She was skeptical of Isla's new friends. "She's changing, Kevin," Chelsea warned me. "And not for the better. This new ambition of hers, it doesn't sound like it includes you." I told Chelsea she was being cynical, but deep down, I felt the truth of her words. As the months passed, the divide between us widened into a chasm. Isla's new social circle became her entire universe. She started declining invitations to spend time with our mutual friends, claiming she was too busy or just not feeling it. Our evenings together became less about shared laughter and more about her scrolling through social media, commenting on her new friends' lavish lives, or talking about their expensive hobbies. The criticisms became less subtle and more pointed. My friend Daniela's husband just bought her a new Porsche for her birthday, she'd say, looking pointedly at my perfectly functional but unglamorous work truck. She's so lucky. Some guys just know how to treat a woman. Or, Laura's husband travels for work all the time, to amazing places. Not just local job sites. I felt less like her fiancé and more like a project, something that needed to be improved, upgraded, polished to fit her new, aspirational lifestyle. The breaking point for me came during a dinner with her parents. We were at a nice, but not overly fancy, restaurant. I had come directly from a job site, having only time for a quick change into a clean shirt and jeans. My work boots, though clean, were still sturdy, practical, obviously work boots. Isla kept glancing at them, then at my hands, which, despite rigorous scrubbing, always had a faint stain from grease or paint. Her mom asked me about my latest welding project. As I enthusiastically described the custom gate I was fabricating, Isla subtly kicked me under the table. When I looked at her, she gave me a tight, embarrassed smile, her eyes flicking down to my hands, then to my boots. It was clear. She was ashamed of my blue-collar work, of my appearance, of who I was. The shame I saw in her eyes, the embarrassment on my behalf, hit me harder than any verbal criticism ever could. That incident marked a significant shift. The arguments became more frequent, more intense. We were no longer on the same page. Her dreams were becoming incompatible with my reality. I felt like I was constantly being judged, constantly falling short of some unspoken expectation. By late May, our engagement was hanging by a thread. The wedding planning had stalled completely. There was no joy left, just tension and unspoken resentment. One evening, after a particularly cold silence, Isla suggested postponing the wedding. "Kevin," she said, carefully, "I think we need more time. For personal growth. I just feel like I need to explore more. To see what else is out there, for me." My heart sank, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. The personal growth she spoke of wasn't about us growing together, it was about her growing away from me, towards that flashy lifestyle she now craved. I was tired of being a project. Tired of trying to live up to unspoken, constantly shifting expectations. "No, Isla," I said, my voice tired but firm. "No more postponing. No more personal growth that doesn't include us. We either move forward with the wedding, or we call it off. Right now. We make a decision." She looked at me, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. I think she expected me to beg, to fight, to conform to her new desires. But I was done. I had reached my limit. She didn't have to say anything. Her silence, her averted gaze, her inability to commit, it was all the answer I needed. "Okay," I said, a profound sadness settling over me. "Then it's off." The breakup occurred shortly after. She cried, saying she loved me, but she needed to explore her potential without constraints. I accepted it, recognizing that we had simply grown apart, pulled in different directions by vastly different values and aspirations. It hurt like hell, but a quiet voice inside me whispered, "Bullet dodged." The months immediately following the breakup were tough. I grieved the loss of the future I had envisioned, the person I thought Isla was. But I channeled that pain into self-improvement, into my work, into building a better life for me. I finally pursued something I'd always dreamed of but put off due to our joint plans: underwater welding certification. It was rigorous, dangerous work, but incredibly lucrative. I dedicated myself to it, passing with flying colors. This opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I started taking on high-paying contracts, working on offshore oil rigs, underwater pipelines, often away for weeks at a time, making more money than I ever thought possible. With my newfound income, I moved out of our old apartment and into a much nicer, larger place with actual space for my hobbies. I started aggressively saving for a house, this time, for myself. I invested in my business, bought new equipment, hired staff. I finally had the financial freedom and personal space to thrive. I reconnected with Sam and Chelsea, who had always had my back. I rediscovered the joy of single life, the freedom of my own choices, unburdened by external judgment or constantly shifting expectations. I was truly happy, content with the man I was and the life I was building. Karma, it seems, has a wicked sense of humor. While I was rebuilding, Isla's life took a spectacular downward spiral. She jumped into a relationship with one of her new friend's successful husbands, a real estate developer named Richard, who was in his late 40s and very married. She thought this was her ticket to the glamorous life. Turns out, Richard was a serial philanderer, with multiple affairs going on, and he quickly dumped Isla when his wife found out about their affair. That relationship ended in a public, humiliating mess for Isla. Desperate to maintain her new lifestyle without a sugar daddy, Isla got involved in a shady real estate investment scheme promoted by one of Richard's equally dubious associates. She convinced her parents to invest a significant chunk of their retirement savings, and she even put in all of her own limited savings, hoping for a quick, massive return. It was a scam. A blatant, sophisticated fraud. The whole thing collapsed, taking her parents' life savings and all of Isla's money with it. She faced bankruptcy. Her parents were furious, her new friends abandoned her, and she was left with nothing but massive debt and legal troubles. The glamorous life she craved turned into a nightmare. She lost her job at the boutique too, probably due to the scandal and her inability to focus. She ended up having to move back into her childhood bedroom, living off her devastated parents, while facing mounting legal bills. Then, in a bizarre twist of fate, I faced a serious health scare. During a routine checkup, doctors discovered a brain tumor. It was benign, thankfully, but required immediate surgery. It was terrifying. I told only my closest family, Chelsea and my parents, and Sam. While I was preparing for the surgery, just days before I was supposed to go under the knife, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered, and it was Isla. Her voice was thin, desperate. She launched into a long, rambling sob story about her bankruptcy, her parents losing everything, how Richard had cheated on her, how she had nowhere to go, how her life was ruined. She painted herself as the ultimate victim, hoping I would swoop in and save her, just like I used to. She was clearly fishing for sympathy, perhaps even a place to stay, or financial help. Isla, I interrupted, my voice calm, firm, I'm sorry you're going through that. I paused. But I can't help you. She got defensive. What do you mean you can't help me? My life is over. Don't you care? I'm actually having brain surgery next week, I said, flatly, without emotion. I have my own problems to deal with. And my life is moving forward, without you in it. I wish you well, but you need to figure out your own messes. I'm not your solution. There was stunned silence on her end. She knew about the surgery now. Her pathetic attempt at manipulation had been countered with the cold, hard reality of my life, which, unlike hers, was still firmly on track. She mumbled something incoherent and hung up. That was the last I heard from her. My surgery was successful. The recovery was tough, but I powered through it, returning to work stronger and more focused than ever. I learned valuable lessons about self-worth, the importance of genuine ambition versus superficial aspiration, and surrounding myself with people who truly value me, not my potential or my wallet. Isla's life, from what I occasionally hear through mutual distant contacts, continues to unravel. She's still living at home, still struggling financially, still blaming everyone else for her choices. Her story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of prioritizing superficial relationships and a materialistic lifestyle over genuine connection, integrity, and hard work. In the end, the breakup, the cancelled wedding, the pain, it was all a blessing in disguise. It allowed me to escape a toxic future and build a life that is truly mine, on my terms. The best revenge isn't just living well, it's living so well that you no longer care about the past. And I truly, deeply, don't.